A few years ago, my small business was on the brink of bankruptcy. For months, sales kept falling, and with the economy in bad shape, I was facing the same financial hardships as countless other small businesses. My accountant advised me to shut down and salvage whatever I could, but I chose instead to focus on imagination. I had heard Mr. Goddard's teachings before, but had never actually tried solving a problem this way. I was skeptical, but the desperation of my situation gave me the courage to try. I imagined an unexpected payment arriving at my office. My bank account was nearly empty, and such a payment would only be possible if a major order came in, something I hadn't seen in a very long time. Still, for 3 days straight, I kept replaying that scene in my mind. On the fourth morning, a client I hadn't heard from in ages called and asked to meet. I hurried through a pile of papers to find the right estimate and got their signature. But fulfilling the order and receiving payment would take months. It wouldn't solve my immediate crisis. Just as I was about to leave, the client stopped me, handed me a check, and said they'd pay in advance for tax reasons. In that instant, I understood just a few days of focused imagining had resolved what months of struggle could not. Now I know imagination can deliver solutions with ease. When my husband and I got married, our greatest dream was to spend an extended time in Europe. For some people, that might have seemed perfectly achievable. But for us, living on such limited means, it felt utterly impossible, as if Europe were another planet altogether. Then I encountered Mr. Goddard's lectures. I began falling asleep each night imagining that I was in England. I remembered watching a film once that showed Buckingham Palace, and I had been completely captivated by that scene. So, in my mind, I stood before the palace's massive iron gates, feeling their cold metal under my hands. Night after night, I drifted off to sleep, filled with the joy of already being there. Not long after, my husband met someone for the first time at a party, a meeting that led to him receiving a scholarship at a university in England. Crossing the Atlantic together, we watched what once seemed like insurmountable obstacles dissolve, as if they had never existed. Our time in Europe became one of the happiest seasons of our lives. One evening during a lecture, a gentleman stood up and shared his story. After leaving the military, he had taken a modestly paying job, but after reading Mr. Goddard's book and faithfully practicing the revision techniques described there each day, his income grew to an unimaginable level within a few years. Among those listening was a man weighed down by serious financial troubles. Inspired by the story, he decided to use imagination himself. He began envisioning a sequence of horse races where he chose the winning horses one after another. He felt, as vividly as if it were real, the texture of the tickets in his hands, the thrill of selecting each winner, and even the moment a cashier handed him a large payout. Night after night, he replayed this scene in his mind as he drifted to sleep. Later, at the racetrack, events unfolded exactly as he had imagined, except that instead of cash, the cashier handed him a check. Encouraged, he set himself an even greater challenge. He pictured walking into his bank, seeing the staff smiling warmly and thanking him, and viewing his account balances flush with funds. He replayed the image of small winnings from the track, multiplying into a tremendous sum over and over, until the feeling became real. In time, his imagination once again became reality. From that experience, he became convinced that imagination is no mere coincidence. His story stands as powerful evidence that vividly staging a scene in your mind and truly feeling its reality can bring about remarkable results.